Older men don't realize this is why younger women smile at them. Psychology tricks. Welcome to our channel. It's Stoicism Win, where you find interesting and useful knowledge from the Stoic philosophers to lead a happy and good life. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. And that matters here, because many men do not miss signals from younger women because the signals are not there. They miss them because they have been trained to doubt what they see before they even allow themselves to understand it. There is a moment you have probably lived through more often than you admit. A younger woman looks at you, not for too long, not in some dramatic way, but just long enough to make you feel it. Then she smiles. It is subtle. It is quiet. But it lands. And almost immediately, you dismiss it. You tell yourself she is only being polite. You assume she smiles at everyone. You convince yourself it means nothing. This is what many older men do, not because they are foolish, but because they no longer trust their own perception. That doubt was not born in a day. It was built over years of quiet messages from the world telling them that attraction belongs only to youth, that interest fades with age, and that if a younger woman notices them at all, it must be meaningless. So they learn to look away too soon. They train themselves to reject the signal before the mind could even examine it. But here's the truth few men hear explained clearly: that smile may not have been random at all. It may not have been loud because real human behavior is rarely loud. The most meaningful signals are often the softest ones. People reveal interest in small ways first, then wait to see who is calm enough, sharp enough, and self-assured enough to notice. The men who understand this do not rush, fantasize, or overreact. They simply pay attention. They see patterns. They understand that human nature often whispers before it speaks. And the men who miss these moments are not broken. They have simply been living without the full picture. So let's slow this down and look at what is really happening. 1. Confidence without performance. Confidence without performance. That's the part most men overlook, and it quietly changes everything. When a younger woman smiles at you, your first instinct is to explain it away, to shrink the moment before it has a chance to mean anything, because somewhere along the line you are taught that attraction must be earned through effort, through clever words, through constant display. That is how younger men often operate, performing, adjusting, chasing signals. But here's what you must understand. What you stopped doing is exactly what's being noticed. You're no longer scanning the room for validation. You're not bending your personality to match expectations. You're not trying to win approval from every pair of eyes that passes by. You are simply present. And that presence carries weight. Don't underestimate that. Be still enough to recognize it. Because real confidence is not loud, not rehearsed, not forced. That is the quiet power that female psychology responds to before logic even steps in. You don't announce confidence, you embody it. It shows in how you stand, how you move, how you take your time instead of rushing to prove something. It shows in your lack of urgency. That is what creates tension, not anxiety, but a subtle, magnetic pull. And here's where most men miss the deeper layer of psychology tricks. Attraction often begins below awareness. When a younger woman smiles at you in a coffee shop, in a hallway, in a fleeting moment where no words are exchanged, her mind hasn't yet constructed a reason. Her body has already responded. That is female psychology in motion, fast, intuitive, and honest. She didn't sit there and decide, I will smile at this man. No, she felt something first. A sense of calm. A sense of grounded energy. A sense that you are not trying to take anything from her. And that matters more than you think. Don't rush to label it. Don't dismiss it. Be the man who notices without needing to chase. Because here's the truth. Attraction is not always about what you do. It's about what you don't do. You don't interrupt the moment with insecurity. You don't break your frame to seek confirmation. You don't turn a simple smile into a performance test. That is where many men lose their edge. Be disciplined. Be composed. Let the moment breathe. This is where psychology tricks become practical, understanding that stillness can communicate more than action. Understanding that restraint can be more attractive than pursuit. And if you're wondering how this connects to how to fall in love, the answer is simple but often ignored. People don't fall for effort alone. They fall for how they feel in your presence. That feeling is shaped by your energy, your pace, your ability to remain centered. A man who is comfortable with silence, comfortable with himself, creates a space where attraction can grow naturally. Don't force it. Don't rush it. Be the man who allows it. That is how to fall in love, not by chasing intensity, but by building a calm, steady presence that others are drawn to without fully understanding why. And yes, this may feel unfamiliar if you've spent years believing you needed to prove your worth. But let that go. Replace performance with presence. Replace urgency with patience. Replace doubt with quiet certainty. Because when you do, something shifts. You stop seeking reactions and instead, you start creating them effortlessly. That smile you once dismissed? It becomes a signal you understand, not overanalyze. It becomes part of a pattern you recognize, not something you explain away. And the more you understand these psychology tricks, the more you see that attraction is not a game of loud moves, it's a game of subtle signals. Female psychology responds to what is felt, not what is advertised. So don't try to impress. Don't try to be someone else. Be grounded. Be intentional. Be calm. That is the difference. That is the edge. And that is why those small, quiet smiles happen more often than you think. They're not accidents. They're responses to a presence that doesn't need to ask for attention to receive it. 2. Emotional safety and ease. There's a quiet truth most men miss, and it lives in moments so small they're easy to dismiss. A glance. A pause. A soft smile that lingers just long enough to be felt, but not long enough to be explained. And you tell yourself it's nothing, but don't rush past it. Don't minimize what your instincts already understand. Because that smile, yes, that one, is not just politeness. It is information. It is feedback. And if you're paying attention, it reveals something deeper about who you are becoming. But here's where it gets more interesting. That smile isn't only about admiration. It's also about safety. Not the loud, heroic kind. Not the kind that demands attention. The subtle kind. Emotional safety. The kind a woman feels without needing to explain it. The kind that settles her nervous system without asking for permission. That is what you must understand. Because a high-value man doesn't chase reactions. He creates environments. And in that environment, people relax. Think about it. Men who constantly explain themselves, who try to control every interaction, who feel the need to impress, persuade, or win the moment, those men create pressure. Not intentionally, but it's there. It's in the tone. It's in the timing. It's in the energy. And people feel it. Women feel it even faster. Don't be that man. Be the one who doesn't need to prove anything. Be the one who allows silence without discomfort. That is masculine energy at its most grounded level. Because when you stop trying to steer every moment, something powerful happens. She doesn't feel managed. She doesn't feel evaluated. She doesn't feel like she's being measured against some invisible standard. Instead, she feels free. Free to breathe. Free to exist. Even if it's just for a few seconds. And that is rare. That kind of emotional ease is not common. In a world full of noise, performance, and constant tension, a man who brings calm becomes unforgettable. That's why this smile appears. Not because you said something clever, not because you tried to attract women with lines or tactics, but because your presence removed pressure, and her body responded before her mind had time to analyze it. That is the level you want to operate on. Not surface attraction, not quick validation, but something deeper. Something instinctive, something real. Understand this clearly. Stability is attractive, but not in the way most men think. It's not about being boring. It's not about playing it safe. It's about being internally steady. Your emotions are yours. You don't hand them out to every situation. You don't react to every shift in tone or mood. You observe. You choose. You respond with intention. That is control. That is discipline. And that is what defines a high-value man. And here's the part many overlook. Ease is more powerful than intensity. Intensity can impress. It can create sparks. But ease creates trust. And trust is what lingers after the moment ends. When a woman smiles at you in that subtle, almost unnoticeable way, She's not reacting to what you're doing. She's responding to how she feels around you. And if she feels calm, unpressured, and seen without being judged, that's when the connection begins. So don't chase the smile. Don't perform for it. That is the mistake. The more you reach for it, the more it disappears. Instead, become the kind of man who makes it inevitable. A man whose masculine energy is quiet but undeniable. A man who doesn't need attention but naturally holds it. A man who understands that to attract women, you don't add more. You remove what is unnecessary. The tension, the neediness, the overthinking. Be simple. Be grounded. Be present. And most importantly, trust what you see. Don't talk yourself out of your own experiences. That doubt, it doesn't mean anything that's learned. That's conditioning. But reality is much more honest. People respond to how you make them feel. Always. Without exception. So the next time it happens, don't look away. Don't shrink the moment. Just notice it. Let it land. And move forward without needing to label it. That is confidence. Quiet, steady, and self-contained. Because in the end, a high-value man doesn't need constant confirmation. He understands the language of subtlety. He reads energy, not just words. And in that space, where there is no pressure, no performance, no need to impress, that's where real attraction lives. And if that truth hits you, don't ignore it, own it. Drop this in the comments right now. I create calm, not pressure. Like the video, subscribe for more grounded, powerful insight, and remember this. When you stop trying to impress, you become the man she feels safe around. And that's where real attraction begins. 3. Outdated self-perception. Outdated self-perception is the quiet force holding many men back, and if you don't confront it, it will quietly rewrite your reality without your permission. You still carry the memory of a younger version of yourself, the one who had to earn attention, prove value, perform just to be seen. You remember when attraction felt like a test you had to pass. So now, when a younger woman looks at you and smiles without effort, without prompting, without conditions, your first instinct is not confidence, it's suspicion. You question it. You downplay it. You dismiss it. But understand this clearly. That reaction is not humility. It is conditioning. It is an outdated self-image still running in the background. As Marcus Aurelius once said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. And right now, your mind is working against you because it hasn't caught up with who you've become. The world has already updated how it sees you, but you haven't updated how you see yourself. That is the gap. That is the tension. And that is exactly where most men lose their edge without even realizing it. You must correct this. You must recalibrate. You must step into the man you already are, not the one you used to be. Because here's the truth grounded in old Stoic wisdom. Value that is built over time does not need to announce itself. It is felt. It is recognized. It is quietly respected. When you carry yourself with an iron mind, when your presence is calm, grounded, and self-contained, people respond to that energy automatically. You don't chase attention anymore. Attention comes to you. And yet, if your internal identity is still stuck in the past, you will reject the very thing you once worked for. That is self-sabotage at the highest level. Modern life amplifies this problem. Social media, cultural narratives, constant comparison, they all reinforce the idea that youth is the peak and everything after is decline. That is noise. That is distraction. That is not reality. Reality is this. Experience sharpens perception, discipline builds presence, and emotional control creates stability, and stability is rare. Extremely rare. And rarity is what attracts. This is why younger women notice you. Not because you are trying harder, but because you are no longer trying at all. That is the shift. That is the signal. And if you don't recognize it, you will continue to play small in moments where you should stand firm. The principles of Stoicism win in these situations because they teach you to detach from old narratives and align with truth. Not the story you've been telling yourself, but the reality in front of you. You must stop asking, is this really for me? And start stating, this is the result of who I've become. That is the mindset of an iron mind. That is how you reclaim authority over your perception. As Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. And embodiment is exactly what is required here. Don't overanalyze the smile. Don't shrink in the moment. Don't retreat into old doubts. Stand still. Hold eye contact. Accept the interaction without needing to define it. That is strength. That is clarity. That is presence. Because the man who is still seeking validation reacts. The man who has internalized his value simply observes and chooses. This is not about arrogance. It is about alignment. When your internal identity matches your external reality, there is no friction, no hesitation, no second guessing, just calm certainty. And that certainty is what makes you magnetic. You must train yourself to operate from this place daily, in conversations, in silence, in how you walk into a room, in how you leave it. Every action either reinforces your outdated identity or builds your current one. Choose wisely. Because once you fully integrate this shift, everything changes. You stop chasing signals. You start recognizing patterns. You stop questioning your worth. You start expressing it without words. That is the quiet power of old Stoic wisdom. That is the foundation of Stoicism win. And that is the mindset of a man with an iron mind. So when that moment happens again, and it will, don't look away. Don't dismiss it. Don't reduce it to coincidence. Receive it. Stand in it. Let it confirm what you already know but haven't fully accepted yet. The door is not closed. It has already opened. The only question now is whether you have the awareness, the discipline, and the courage to walk through it. 4. Unpressured energy. There's a layer to this dynamic that most men completely overlook, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. A younger woman doesn't smile at you simply because you appear confident. She smiles because you carry an unpressured energy that most men around her lack. And that difference is everything. You're not leaning in with mead. You're not chasing validation. You're not silently asking for approval with your eyes, your tone, or your body language. That is rare. That is felt instantly. In a world where so many interactions are loaded with expectation, where conversations feel like negotiations, where attention often comes with a hidden cost, your presence feels different because it asks for nothing. That is what disarms her. That is what softens her guard. That is what creates the moment. Understand this clearly. People relax around those who don't need anything from them. They open up around those who are not trying to take. This is one of the most powerful psychology tricks you will ever understand, and it sits at the core of female psychology, whether most men realize it or not. When you are unpressured, you give her space to just be. She doesn't feel evaluated. She doesn't feel like she has to perform, impress, or protect herself. She doesn't feel pulled into a silent game. That is rare. That is attractive. Don't rush the interaction. Don't try to control the outcome. Don't fill every silence with noise. Be the man who is comfortable in stillness, because stillness communicates strength far louder than words ever could. That is the energy that changes the emotional temperature of a room without effort. And here's where it becomes even more important for you to understand. This has nothing to do with tricks in the superficial sense, but everything to do with internal alignment. You're not pretending to be calm. You are calm. You're not acting detached. You are grounded. That is why it works. That is why these psychology tricks rooted in real self-control and awareness align perfectly with deeper female psychology. Women are highly attuned to emotional pressure, even when it's subtle, and most men unknowingly carry it into every interaction. You must remove that pressure. You must stop needing the moment to go a certain way, because the moment you need something, you tighten the space. And the moment you tighten the space, she feels it. She may not explain it logically, but she will respond to it emotionally. Now flip that. When you don't need anything, when you're simply present, when you allow the moment to unfold without forcing it, she feels free. And freedom is what opens the door to curiosity, connection, and yes, even how to fall in love. Because love, real connection, never grows under pressure. It grows in space. It grows where there is ease. It grows where someone feels safe to be themselves without being pulled or pushed. That is the environment you create when you master this. So be clear with yourself. Stop chasing reactions. Stop measuring your worth by immediate responses. Stop trying to impress. Instead, hold your ground. Be steady. Be composed. That is what creates the subtle pull you're beginning to notice. That smile you receive is not random. It is a response to the absence of pressure. It is a signal that she feels comfortable in your presence, even if only for a brief moment. And that comfort is the foundation of everything deeper. If you want to understand how to fall in love or how to attract meaningful attention, start here. Master your internal state. Remove the need. Let your presence do the work. Because in the end, the man who controls himself never has to control the moment, and that is the quiet advantage that most never learn, but every woman can feel. If this hit you, don't scroll past it, own it. Like the video, subscribe for more sharp insights, and most importantly, anchor this mindset into who you are. Drop this in the comments right now. I bring calm, not pressure. Because the moment you stop chasing the moment is the moment everything starts coming to you. 5. Experience and curiosity. Experience changes a man in ways most people never talk about, and that's exactly where your real advantage begins. Not the loud, storytelling kind of experience. Not the kind you bring up to impress. The quiet kind. The kind that lives in your posture, your timing, your restraint. Younger men live in anticipation. They lean forward, waiting for something to happen. Older men, if they've done the inner work, live in recall. You've already seen how things unfold. You've watched the same patterns repeat in different faces, different places, different years. That is not theory. That is lived truth. And because of that, you move differently. Slower, but sharper. Calmer, but more precise. That is masculine energy at its most refined. You must understand this. When you stop chasing outcomes, you start controlling presence. And presence is what people feel before you even speak. A high-value man doesn't rush to fill silence. He doesn't scramble to prove relevance. He doesn't lean in with urgency. That is what separates you. That is what allows you to attract women without effort looking like effort. You're not trying to win the moment. You've already outgrown the need to win anything at all. That is power, quiet, stable, and undeniable. And when a younger woman smiles at you, something deeper is happening beneath the surface. It's easy to misread it. Easy to label it as attraction, politeness, or a chance. But look closer. That smile carries curiosity. Not just romantic curiosity, existential curiosity. She may not articulate it, but her system is asking, how did he become this? What does he see that I don't yet see? What does it feel like to be at ease in your own skin? You are not just a man in that moment. You are a possibility she hasn't explored yet. That's why the smile isn't loud. It's brief, measured, almost like a question mark, because it is a probe, not a flirtation, not a promise, a probe. And here is where most men lose without realizing it. They misinterpret the signal and react instead of respond. They spike, talk too much, joke too fast, lean in too eagerly. Or they collapse, pull back, doubt themselves, shut down emotionally. Both responses break the frame. Both reveal that the internal stability isn't fully there yet. Don't do that. Don't rush to define the moment. Don't turn curiosity into pressure. Be still. Let it breathe. A high-value man understands that not every moment needs to become something. That is what makes him rare. That is what allows him to attract women naturally, because he is not trying to extract anything from the interaction. He is simply present, grounded, and complete as he is. That is masculine energy in its highest form. Not forceful, not performative, but settled, rooted, certain. You must become comfortable with not knowing where things are going, because paradoxically, that's when things begin to open. When you don't chase meaning, meaning reveals itself. Slowly, naturally, without resistance. Think about it. You've already lived enough life to recognize patterns. You know where over-effort leads. You know where emotional urgency creates imbalance. You've seen how trying too hard pushes people away, while calm certainty draws them in. So why abandon that wisdom in a single moment? Why trade depth for reaction? Don't shrink back into old habits. Stay where you are, centered, observant, composed. Because when you hold that frame, something subtle happens. The probe doesn't close, it expands. The curiosity lingers. She feels it, not as pressure, not as expectation, but as space. And people are drawn to spaces where they can breathe, where they are not evaluated, where they are not rushed. That is why your presence becomes magnetic without effort. A high value man doesn't chase signals, he allows them to unfold. He doesn't interpret every smile as opportunity. He understands that connection is not built in a single exchange, it's revealed over time. And because he is not attached to immediate outcomes, he remains steady. That steadiness is what makes him unforgettable. So the next time it happens, and it will, notice your instinct. Notice the urge to react, to perform, to turn a simple moment into something bigger than it needs to be. And then do the opposite. Be calm, be grounded, be unmoved. Let the moment exist without interference. That is strength. That is control. And here's the truth most men overlook. The goal is not to make her stay. The goal is to remain yourself. Because when you stay rooted in who you are, when your masculine energy is not shaken by small interactions, you naturally attract women who resonate with that frequency. Not through effort, not through tactics, but through presence. So don't chase the smile. Don't define it too quickly. Let it be what it is, a quiet signal, a moment of curiosity, a subtle acknowledgement of something in you that stands apart. And if you meet it with calm, with clarity, with self-containment, you don't just pass the test. You become the answer she was looking for without ever trying to be. 6. Containment and psychological weight. Containment and psychological weight. This is where surface-level advice falls apart and where real understanding begins. Most people will tell you, just be confident, as if confidence is some switch you flip. That's incomplete. That's shallow. What actually moves people, what makes a younger woman pause, look, and smile, is something far more refined. It's containment. It's the quiet discipline of a man who has lived enough life to no longer leak energy in every direction. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That is the essence here. A man grounded in old Stoic wisdom does not react to every stimulus. He does not chase validation. He does not perform. He contains himself. And in that containment, there is weight. Not heaviness, not tension, density, presence. When you walk into a room with that kind of energy, you don't need to announce it. People feel it, especially women who are used to noise, to men who overtalk, overshare, overreach. You're different. And difference, when rooted in control, is magnetic. Younger men are often still trying to figure out who they are, constantly adjusting, constantly seeking approval, constantly asking, am I enough? You're past that. Or at least, you must be. That is your edge. That is your advantage. You must understand this clearly. Attraction is not always about excitement. It is often about relief. Relief from chaos. Relief from unpredictability. Relief from emotional pressure. When you embody Stoicism win principles, when you operate from an iron mind, you become that relief. You become the calm in a loud environment. You become the man who does not need to impress because he already knows his value. And that certainty, quiet, steady, unspoken, is what creates that subtle smile. She may not even know why she's doing it. She just feels it. She feels that you are not trying to take something from the moment. You are not trying to prove anything. You are simply there. And that presence carries psychological weight. In modern life, where attention is fragmented and everyone is competing for validation through screens, likes, and constant communication, this kind of containment is rare. It stands out sharply. It cuts through the noise. As Epictetus taught, don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. That is your instruction. Don't talk about being composed. Be composed. Don't announce your worth. Live in a way that makes it obvious. Don't chase reactions. Let reactions come to you. This is old Stoic wisdom applied in real time, in real interactions, in a world that desperately lacks it. And here is the truth you must accept. The smile is not random. It is a response to contrast, a response to your restraint, a response to your ability to hold yourself without spilling into the space around you. You must protect that. You must refine that. Because the moment you start seeking the smile, you lose the very quality that created it. Stay grounded. Stay contained. Stay disciplined. Build that iron mind daily. Through silence. Through observation. Through choosing not to react when reaction is easy. This is how you win, not loudly, not aggressively, but decisively. This is Stoicism win in action. And when you move through life this way, you don't just attract attention, you command respect without asking for it. You create space where others feel safe, where others feel calm, where others feel drawn in without pressure. That is power. Controlled, directed, unspoken. So don't underestimate the value of your years. Don't dismiss the depth you've earned. Use it, refine it, master it. Because in a world full of noise, the man who contains himself becomes impossible to ignore. 7. The silent test. The moment most men misunderstand isn't the smile itself, it's what they think it means. You assume it's either attraction or simple politeness, but that's a narrow way to read a much deeper signal. Sometimes the smile is neither. It's a silent question, a subtle probe rooted in female psychology, a moment where attention replaces words and curiosity replaces intention. Whether you realize it or not, you are being observed, not judged harshly, but gently measured. Who are you beneath the surface? Are you truly as calm as you appear, or is that calm just a mask waiting to crack? This is the silent test, and it unfolds without announcements, without pressure, without rules written in plain sight. Yet it is one of the most powerful psychology tricks embedded in human interaction. Here is where most men lose ground, not because they lack value, but because they react instead of allowing, they rush instead of settling, they try to interpret instead of simply being present. Don't rush to label the moment. Don't assume you need to respond with something clever. Don't chase meaning. Be still. That is where your strength reveals itself. When you flinch, when your eyes dart away too quickly, when your body tightens, when you laugh it off or dismiss the moment, you are not failing. You are simply closing a door that was quietly opening. And the loop of curiosity she initiated remains incomplete. In female psychology, unfinished emotional loops rarely inspire deeper interest. They fade. But when you notice without reacting, when you hold eye contact just long enough without forcing it, when your presence remains steady and unbothered, something shifts. You move from being evaluated to being experienced. And that is where quiet power begins to take shape. Men who react are often trying to control the outcome. Men who chase are trying to secure validation. Men who allow are the ones who understand how to fall in love without losing themselves, how to create space instead of pressure, how to let attraction breathe instead of suffocating it. This is not about playing games. This is about mastering awareness. These are real psychology tricks, not manipulative tactics, but insights into how human connection actually works beneath the surface. Understand this. A woman's smile can be an invitation, but not always to conversation. It can be an invitation to reveal your internal state. Are you grounded? Are you comfortable in silence? Are you at ease with yourself? Ease is contagious and tension is loud, even when no words are spoken. In modern life, where everyone is performing, posting, proving, and seeking attention, the man who does not need to perform stands out immediately. He doesn't fill every gap with noise. He doesn't rush to impress. He doesn't overanalyze every signal. He observes, he feels, he remains centered. That is what makes him intriguing. That is what aligns with deeper layers of female psychology. If you want to understand how to fall in love in a way that is grounded, lasting, and real, you must first learn how to stay present in these small, quiet moments, because love doesn't begin with grand gestures, it begins with subtle recognition. With emotional safety, with the ability to sit in uncertainty without trying to control it. You must train yourself to recognize these moments not as tests you need to pass, but as opportunities to express who you already are. Don't overthink the smile. Don't chase its meaning. Be the man who can meet it without urgency, without hesitation, without the need to turn it into something bigger than it is. That is the paradox. When you stop trying to make something happen, you become the kind of man things naturally happen around. This is the essence of powerful psychology tricks that most men overlook. This is where female psychology becomes less mysterious and more intuitive. This is how to fall in love, not by forcing connection, but by allowing it to unfold in its own rhythm. So, next time it happens, don't break the moment. Don't shrink from it. Don't rush past it. Hold your ground. Stay present. Let the silence speak. Because in that silence, more is being said than you think, and the man who understands that will always stand apart. If you felt that, then understand this. Most men lose the moment not because they lack value, but because they react instead of remain. They rush, they overthink, they close the space that was quietly opening for them. Don't do that. Hold your ground. Stay present. Let the moment breathe. Because that silent test isn't about impressing, it's about who can remain steady without needing to prove anything. And that is where real power begins. Now, if you're ready to step into that level of calm, controlled presence, comment this below. I stay calm, I observe, and I let the moment come to me. 8. Recognition, not admiration. Recognition, not admiration, that is the line most men never cross, because they're still trying to be seen instead of being understood. Listen carefully. Admiration is loud, temporary, and often tied to performance. Recognition is quiet, deep, and rooted in truth. When a younger woman smiles at you, she is not necessarily impressed. She is not measuring your looks, your money, or your status the way you think. She is sensing something far more rare. She is recognizing resolution. And that is what separates a man who tries to attract women from a man who naturally does it without effort. A high-value man does not chase admiration. He embodies clarity. He walks into a room already decided about who he is. That is masculine energy at its most refined form. No noise, no proving, no unnecessary movement, just presence. Recognition is subtle. It doesn't ask for attention, and it doesn't need validation. It simply exists. And when a woman encounters it, she feels it before she understands it. Think about this. Most people are still negotiating with themselves every single day. They second-guess their choices. They adjust their values depending on who they are around. They hesitate. They seek approval. But you, if you've done the inner work, you don't move like that anymore. Your decisions are already made. Your standards are already set. Your emotional debts? Already paid. That is what she recognizes. Not your age, not your appearance, not your achievements. She recognizes that you are no longer in conflict with yourself. And that creates a calm, grounded masculine energy that quietly draws people in. Don't underestimate this. Don't dismiss it as coincidence. Be aware of it. Because this is where many men make a mistake. They feel that smile and immediately try to earn more of it. They shift. They perform. They start talking too much, trying to impress, trying to hold on to the moment. Don't do that. That is the fastest way to break the very thing that created the connection in the first place. Remember, she didn't smile because you were trying. She smiled because you weren't. That is the paradox. A high-value man attracts women not by effort, but by alignment. Not by chasing, but by standing still in his own truth. Be the man who no longer auditions for life. That is the shift. That is the turning point. When you stop trying to prove your worth, you begin to embody it. And people feel that immediately, especially women who are emotionally perceptive. They may not be able to explain it in words, but they recognize it. They feel safe around it. They feel curious about it. Why? Because in a world full of uncertainty and constant self-doubt, a man who is settled within himself becomes rare. And rarity attracts attention without asking for it. That is real masculine energy. You must understand this deeply. Attraction is not always about excitement. Sometimes it is about relief. Relief from pressure. Relief from chaos. Relief from emotional instability. When a younger woman smiles at you, she may be responding to that sense of ease you carry. You are not pulling energy from her. You are not trying to extract anything. You are simply present. And that presence feels different. It feels clean. It feels grounded. That is why a high-value man doesn't need tricks to attract women. His entire way of being becomes the signal. Don't try to manufacture this. You can't fake resolution. You can't pretend to be settled if you are still divided inside. The work must be real. You must face your doubts. You must make your decisions. You must stop negotiating with yourself. That is the path. And once you walk it, everything changes. Your posture changes. Your tone changes. Your timing changes. You become slower, more deliberate, less reactive, more intentional. And without saying a word, you communicate something powerful. I know who I am. That is what she recognizes. Not your past, not your future, but your present certainty. And that recognition creates that small, quiet smile. A moment that many men misunderstand, but a high-value man understands completely. He doesn't chase it. He doesn't question it. He simply allows it. Because he knows it's not about winning her attention. It's about maintaining his alignment. And from that place, everything else follows naturally. 9. Authority and presence. Authority and presence understand this clearly because most men miss it. That smile you notice is not random, and it is not shallow attraction. It is recognition. Not of status, not of surface charm, but of something deeper, authority. Not control, not force. Authority, the quiet kind. The kind that doesn't announce itself, doesn't perform, doesn't explain. As Marcus Aurelius once said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. That is exactly the energy being felt. You are not trying to prove anything. You are not rushing to impress. You are standing in your place, fully grounded, fully present. And that presence is rare. In today's world, younger women are constantly surrounded by noise, men reacting too quickly, speaking too much, revealing intentions before they've even built substance. Everything is fast, exposed, and often uncertain. Then you arrive, carrying something different. You are composed. You are measured. You are not chasing the moment, and you are not avoiding it either. You simply exist in it. That contrast creates a psychological pause. And that pause is powerful. That pause is where the smile begins. Do not underestimate this. Do not dilute it by over-explaining yourself or trying to keep up with younger energy. That is a mistake. Stay grounded. Stay centered. This is where old Stoic wisdom becomes practical, not theoretical. You must understand. Authority is not built in the moment. It is revealed in the moment. It comes from years of experience, from lessons learned, from emotional discipline. It comes from choosing silence when others rush to speak, from choosing patience when others react, from choosing clarity when others chase validation. This is Stoicism when in real life, not as an idea, but as a way of being. And here's the truth you must accept. People are drawn to certainty. Not loud certainty, quiet certainty, the kind that doesn't need applause, the kind that doesn't seek permission. As Seneca said, he who is brave is free. Freedom shows in your posture, in your pace, in your eyes. You are not looking for approval. You are not adjusting yourself to fit the room. You are holding your frame. That is authority. That is presence. That is what creates emotional safety without a single word being spoken. And when a younger woman feels that, she pauses. She smiles. Not because you entertained her, but because she feels something steady in a world that rarely offers it. You must protect this energy. Do not trade it for attention. Do not weaken it by seeking validation. The moment you start explaining yourself too much, chasing reactions, or trying to prove your worth, you lose the very thing that made you stand out. Be still. Be intentional. Be selective. That is how an iron mind is built. And once you have that iron mind, you don't need to convince anyone of anything. Your presence does the work for you. In modern life, this matters more than ever. Everything is accelerated. Conversations are rushed. Emotions are amplified. People are constantly trying to be seen, heard, and validated. But the man who stands apart is the one who does not rush. The one who listens more than he speaks. The one who acts with precision, not impulse. This is old Stoic wisdom applied in a chaotic world. This is how you create impact without noise. This is how you become unforgettable without trying to be impressive. So understand this clearly and act on it. Don't chase the smile. Don't question it. Don't overanalyze it. Earn it by becoming the man who naturally creates it. Be grounded. Be calm. Be deliberate. That is your instruction. Repeat it until it becomes your nature. Because when you embody this fully, when your presence speaks before your words ever do, you are no longer reacting to the world. You are shaping how the world responds to you. That is Stoicism win. That is the power of an iron mind. 10. Presence over action. Presence is where the real shift happens, and this is exactly where many men quietly break the natural flow without even realizing it. They feel a moment, a smile, a glance, a subtle openness, and immediately rush to define it, label it, control it. Was that interest? Should I act now? Should I step forward or pull back? Don't rush. Don't interrupt the moment with unnecessary pressure. Be still. That is where your power begins. The moment was never demanding action. It was inviting presence. And presence is rare. Presence is what separates a man who understands psychology tricks from one who reacts blindly. When you slow down and observe instead of chase, when you allow space instead of forcing direction, you step into a deeper level of awareness that aligns with both female psychology and the subtle dynamics of attraction. You must understand this. Attraction is not a transaction. It is not built in a single move. It unfolds in an environment where tension is allowed to exist without being resolved too quickly. Men who grasp this don't scramble to close the deal. They don't try to impress or prove. They notice patterns. They read energy. They stay grounded. That is how to fall in love, not by force, but by allowing connection to develop naturally without suffocating it with urgency. Think about it clearly. Most people today are uncomfortable with silence, with uncertainty, with the unknown. They rush to define everything because they fear losing control. But in doing so, they destroy the very thing they're trying to build. When a woman smiles, when there's a subtle moment of connection, she is not asking you to solve it like a problem. She is feeling the moment. And if you rush in with analysis, with pressure, with the need to act immediately, you break the emotional rhythm. Don't do that. Be present. Let the moment expand. That is one of the most overlooked psychology tricks, and yet it is rooted deeply in female psychology. Safety comes before attraction grows. Always. And safety is not built through clever words or fast moves. It is built through your consistency, how you carry yourself, how you respond, how you remain unchanged by fleeting signals. You must train yourself to resist the urge to react instantly. That urge is not strength. It is impatience disguised as confidence. Real confidence is quiet. It waits. It observes. It understands that not every moment needs to be acted upon. When you hold that space, when you don't collapse into overthinking or overacting, you create something rare, emotional ease. And emotional ease is deeply attractive. This is how to fall in love in a way that feels natural and lasting, not forced and temporary. You are not chasing a result. You are allowing a connection to reveal itself. That is a completely different mindset. Look deeper. When you stay present, you signal something powerful without saying a word. I am comfortable with myself. I don't need to rush. I don't need to prove. That signal aligns perfectly with female psychology, where emotional safety and stability are often felt before anything else develops. And here's the truth most men miss. Attraction often forms after safety, not before it. If she feels rushed, evaluated, or pressured, the moment tightens. But if she feels space, calm, and consistency, the moment opens. That opening is where real connection begins. So don't chase outcomes. Don't try to control every interaction. Be the man who understands that not everything needs to be defined immediately. Let moments breathe. Let tension exist. Let curiosity build. These are not passive actions. They are deliberate choices rooted in awareness. They are advanced psychology tricks that few men truly master, yet they align perfectly with how to fall in love in a grounded, authentic way. You must remember this clearly. Presence is not doing nothing. It is doing exactly what is needed and nothing more. It is restraint. It is awareness. It is control over your impulses. And in a world full of noise, urgency, and constant reaction, that kind of presence stands out more than any clever line or bold move ever could. Stay grounded. Stay aware. Let the moment come to you. That is where the real dynamic lives. All right, my friend, if you've stayed with me until this moment, then you're already seeing something most men overlook. Here's the truth, simple and real. Not every smile needs to be analyzed, chased, or turned into something bigger. Sometimes that smile exists because you've become a man who is easy to be around. No pressure, no performance, no need to prove anything. And in today's world, that kind of presence is rare. So don't rush it. Don't question it. Just be that man. A man who stands calm. A man who knows his value without needing to announce it. A man who allows moments to happen naturally instead of forcing them. That's where your real strength is. Remember this. When you stop trying to impress, you start to connect. When you stop chasing, you start attracting. That quiet confidence. People feel it before you even say a word. So take this with you. Be steady, be genuine, and let your presence do the work. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.